What is up, YouTube? My name is Eben, and today we are taking one final look at our Pokemon Theme Deck Fusion, where we fused the Articuno theme deck from Roaring Skies and the Heliolisk theme deck from Flashfire into one structure deck project experiment thing. And today in our finale episode, we're going to be looking at all the cards that we changed in and basically what the deck is now and what it's become and where we can possibly go from here. We've made most of the big changes, so now the question is where to. We ended up keeping our two Articunos because we tried to stay true to our theme of let's search for energies, add them to our hand to power things up. That was kind of the theme. And we kept our two Heliolisks. And we kept our two Helioptiles to, of course, go with our Heliolisks. Stay together, guys. Gosh. Alright. And what we ended up doing with all that is we added in the Swampert family at 3 Swamperts, 3 Marshtomps, and 3 Mudkips to make all that happen. That's our offense. And the reason is because we have the alpha growth trait, so adding energies to our hand is good for us, and that's what Articuno and Helios, both these decks, are designed to do. So it was just a very natural fit. The support we ended up going to is sort of a basic card drawing suite with 4 Sycamores. We ended up going up to 4 Shauna. She's just kind of the best card drawing we had available to us. And 1 Ace Trainer. We kept our 2 Pokemon fan clubs, and honestly, in the future where we take this deck with our playtesting, this might be one of the more droppable cards in the deck. We need the basics we have quite a bit, so I did keep them. They're a good way to search out your deck and thin it, which is one of our deck themes also, is kind of thinning the deck. This gets us this can get you double Mudkips and you're pretty happy, because who doesn't like Mudkips, but it's still pretty droppable, probably for like a card drawing supporter and maybe a more utilitarian supporter. If you decide to go another way with the deck. We did also opt for 1 Lysander and 1 Wally as well. Lysander's pretty self-explanatory, just gives Swampert things to hit, and then it's also good versus secret target. And then Wally was just one of the cards that came in the deck, and it really just made a lot of sense. And it goes Mudkip to Marshtomp to Swampert a little more easily, and prevents Seismitoad from locking us out. And honestly, we run 1 Wally, and we've got 1 Evo Soda I'm going to reveal later. And if we were going to make some more changes in the future to try to make this deck a little more competitive than we already have, then what we could do is we could either opt for maybe double Wally, if we want to commit a little bit more to that, or we could also just drop this Wally in favor of an Evo Soda if Seismitoad scares you not. So it just kind of depends, but that's an area where we might be able to create some more consistency by dropping a 1 of either altogether or reinforcing it by setting it up to 2. And that's kind of your call. If you decide to kind of press this further just to see what you can do, I encourage that, because why not? And I like Swampert. Swampert's fun, and this is a pretty unique way to build around Swampert. We also have 3 Trainer's Mail, because Trainer's Mail and Swampert are great friends, because Diving Search puts things on top of your deck, and you can obviously go get a supporter or other trainer card in general, and Trainer's Mail can then just go get it and add it to your hand right away without you having to wait a turn. We opted for 3 there. You could add a 4th. You can definitely make a good argument for that. That's another change that could be on the horizon, kind of a tweaking thing. We opted for 2 Ultra Balls. It goes well with Wally and Evo Soda. It's just a nice way to get cards and make sure that we get up to Swampert quickly. And it's a nice way to pick up your Heliolisk as well. Here's that 1 Evo Soda we were mentioning earlier that we ended up, it's kind of from the original deck, and we just never had a good reason to take it out. And like I say, with Wally, either you can kind of focus on one or the other, or in fact, one interesting thing you could do is if you want to really get your Swamperts out quickly and consistently, you could actually run 2 Wallies and 2 Evo Sodas. And that way, basically, you get the Mudkip on turn 1, and then turn 2, you can Evo Soda to get that Marshtomp out of your deck, and then use your supporter Wally that same turn to go straight up to Swampert, which that could be pretty cool. And then Swampert could start diving searching for other ones to build up a second Swampert as a backup, and things like that. Or he can go get you card drawing if the Wally blocked your early game card drawing a little much for your taste, that kind of thing. So lots of interesting options, directions we could take things in the future if we were going to go further with this experiment. We also left in 2 Professor's Letter And these are a little flexible. I like them because they still kind of keep our searching theme up, and we don't always start with the Articuno or the Heliolisk, so it's a nice alternative, and it's something Swampert can go get, and so on and so forth. But it is kind of droppable in that same vein because we have Articuno and Heliolisk to support Swampert. You could make an argument for other cards that might support Swampert as well. So, an area to explore there too if you want to go that direction. We do have 2 Versus Seekers just because we got a number of good supporters we would like to be able to go get, and it's a great Swampert target with Diving Search. We had 1 Energy Retrieval because if a Swampert goes down, it's going to take a lot of our energy with it, and that's not necessarily so great, so that's a great way to bring energies back so another Swampert can very quickly alpha growth back up and keep attacking. So, kind of a pretty important card there in my mind. And we're also opting for 3 Muscle Bands to give Swampert that extra oomph, which can easily be the difference between KOing and not KOing, as it raises 130 point attack to a 150, and it raises a 160 up to a 180. So those are pretty important numbers right there. So it did feel like a pretty important card to include. We also have 2 Escape Ropes just to kind of mess with our opponents a little bit. We've got Pokemon we can sack off to our opponent, and we can always capitalize on that with Ace Trainer too. So Escape Rope definitely makes a little more sense than Switch in the long run. You can always opt for Switch if you want to do this yourself, but personally I felt like Escape Rope had just a little bit more weight for us. Swampert's Retreat is pretty hefty, so we might need to switch occasionally, especially if we get Lysandered early game. And our last 2 trainers are 2 copies of Rough Seas. They just heal everything in the deck. They can buy us some extra turns here and there, which can get us more setup, which is always good. Everything in the deck benefits from it, so it's just the most reasonable stadium to run. Energy-wise, we've got 14 energy. We ran 1 Lightning just so that Heliolisk would have the option to attack if we really needed it under the right circumstances. You could arguably drop this, but I always like having options, and Heliolisk having that 1 option to attack is pretty nice. I like it. And the remaining 13 energies are all water energies, obviously, because that's how Swampert gets his attack going and happy. So we really don't need lightning energies for anything else. So the rest, just logically, it's all water energies for Swampert, because Double Colorless does not boost his attack's damage at all. So there you go. Pretty short and sweet and direct. And this is what we got in only 10 sets of corrections, some of which actually we could have probably done a little differently because of the Salamence episode that we had, but overall, I'd say this deck fusion turned out pretty darn good for starting from 2 starter decks. Let me know what you think in the comments, or you can always check me out on Twitter if you haven't already. Hey, you should really do that if you haven't already. And anyway, a little bit of interest coming in the future. Twitter folks will know before YouTube folks, but Theme Deck Thursday is going to become a different kind of Thursday starting next week. We'll have a whole different theme. I think I'm just going to take a break from the Theme Deck stuff and maybe offer you guys something different. So if you'd like to know before next Thursday, check me out on Twitter. There's a link below, and I will at some point be tweeting what next Thursday is going to be. It's going to be a whole new series of stuff. I'm pretty excited about it. I hope you guys are too. And until then, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time.